She threw her baby in the river. 20 years later, the baby became the surgeon who held her fate. A BBC journalist asked the question everyone was thinking. How do you feel about the woman who tried to murder you now, depending on you to save her daughter? Miracle chose her words carefully. I feel like this is exactly why I became a doctor. Not for easy cases where everyone's grateful. For hard cases where personal history complicates medical ethics. For moments when you choose between being human and being a healer. Which did you choose? Both, because the best healers understand that being human, understanding pain, abandonment, fear, hope, makes you better at healing, not worse. #RiverSurgeon trended globally for weeks. The story dominated international headlines. The photograph of Miracle holding newborn Destiny while Eniye watched became magazine covers worldwide. But the most powerful moment came 2 weeks later, when Destiny was stable enough to be held. Eniye sat in her room, holding Destiny with infinite gentleness. The baby's monitors couldn't hide that she was beautiful. Strikingly beautiful in the same way Miracle had always been. Same wide eyes, same delicate features, same challenges ahead. But this time, instead of disgust, Eniye felt fierce protectiveness. Instead of shame, she felt pride. Instead of wanting to hide her daughter, she wanted to show the world how precious she was. She's perfect, Eniye whispered, tears streaming. She's absolutely perfect, just like this. Destiny would need surgeries, face the stares, deal with whispers, but she'd never doubt she was wanted. Never question if she was loved, never wonder if her differences made her less valuable. For the first time, Miracle felt something other than professional detachment. A flicker of what might be forgiveness. Not because Eniye deserved it, because Destiny deserved to grow up without her mother's past mistakes weighing her down. Yes, Miracle said quietly. She is. 5 years later, Global Summit on Child Welfare. 10,000 people packed the Cape Town Convention Centre. Government leaders, medical professionals, humanitarian advocates, all there to hear one person. The woman who was thrown away and grew up to catch falling children. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Miracle Achieng. The standing ovation lasted 10 minutes. In the audience, Veronica, now 75 and Foundation Director Emeritus, cried with pride. Beside her sat 5-year-old Destiny, beautiful and confident, completely unaware she was part of history. At 24, Miracle had revolutionized pediatric care globally. Her foundation operated in 20 countries. She'd provided free surgeries to 15,000 children. But it was her story. Baby who survived the river, saved her birth mother, dedicated her life to catching thrown-away children, that made her a global symbol. Thank you, but before I begin, I want you to meet someone special. She gestured toward Destiny, who waved enthusiastically at the crowd. That's my sister Destiny. 5 years ago, she was born with the same conditions that led to my abandonment. But unlike me, she never spent one day unwanted. She's proof the world is changing, one family at a time. Warm applause filled the auditorium. Many wiped tears, seeing the little girl who represented hope. My story begins with a question that haunts millions. What do you do when the child you're given doesn't match the child you expected? Silence, complete attention. 24 years ago, my birth mother answered by throwing me in Nairobi River. She couldn't handle a daughter who looked different. So she decided I should die. But here's what she didn't understand. Being different isn't being damaged. Looking unusual isn't being broken. Needing extra care isn't being worthless. My birth mother saw a problem to eliminate. My adoptive mother saw potential to nurture. The difference between those perspectives is the difference between creating miracles and throwing them away. The screen behind her showed photographs from foundation centers across Africa, before and after images of transformed children. These are kids we've treated, everyone born with differences that made them targets for abandonment. But what you're seeing isn't just medical treatment, you're seeing a shift in how we define human worth. She advanced to the next slide, a map of Africa dotted with center locations. Today I'm announcing our most ambitious expansion. Over 5 years, we'll establish centers in every African nation. Free treatment for any child with facial differences. But more than that, we'll change the conversation about being different. Applause erupted, but Miracle wasn't finished. This expansion is funded by unprecedented partnerships, governments, organizations, donors who understand that catching falling children isn't charity, it's investing in human potential. Her eyes found Anita in the back row. Her birth mother was barely recognizable. 5 years of raising destiny, learning to love a different child, had transformed her into someone who understood every human life's value. But treatment centers aren't enough. We need to address the root, societies that teach parents to be ashamed of children who don't fit narrow normal definitions. Statistics flashed on screen that made the audience gasp. Every year, 50,000 children are abandoned across Africa because of physical differences. 50,000 potential doctors, teachers, artists, leaders thrown away because parents couldn't see past surface differences. Her voice grew passionate. I stand here as living proof that the children the world throws away often grow up to save it. I was discarded because my birth mother thought I was too ugly to love. But that abandonment, that knowledge of being unwanted, made me a better doctor, more compassionate healer, more effective advocate. The audience was crying openly now. Every child we save becomes hope multiplied. They grow up to save others, advocate for families, prove that being different isn't limitation, it's superpower. She gestured toward Destiny again, now in Veronica's lap, watching her big sister command thousands. My sister will grow up in a world where facial differences don't mean hiding or abandonment. She'll know she's beautiful exactly as she is, that her differences are gifts, not burdens. But Destiny's experience should be normal, not exceptional. Every child born anywhere should have the right to be loved, supported, celebrated regardless of how they look. Her voice dropped to a whisper that carried perfectly. You can throw away a body, but you cannot erase a name. You can abandon a child, but you cannot destroy their potential. You can see differences as problems, but that doesn't make it true. She straightened, voice gaining power. I am Dr. Miracle Achieng. I was thrown in a river because someone thought I was worthless. But I rose from that water like the miracle I was always meant to be. Now I dedicate my life to ensuring no child ever has to prove their worth by surviving what should have killed them. The standing ovation was unlike anything summit organizers had witnessed. 15 minutes, delegates from 53 nations on their feet, many crying, all moved by proof that the best revenge against cruelty isn't cruelty returned, but grace that transforms everything. But the moment that would be remembered forever came when Destiny broke free from Veronica's arms and ran onto the stage. The 5-year-old wrapped her arms around Miracle's legs and looked up with those extraordinary eyes. Sissy, she said into the microphone, you're the best doctor in the whole world. Miracle knelt and pulled Destiny into her arms. The image of two sisters, one thrown away, one treasured from birth, embracing on the world stage, became the defining photograph. Yes, little sister, but more importantly, we're proving that being different doesn't mean being less, it means being more. That evening, as delegates returned to their countries with funding commitments, Miracle sat in her hotel room video calling centers across Africa. Each facility reported the same: donations pouring in, volunteers signing up, families bringing children for treatment instead of hiding them. The girl thrown away for being different had changed how the world saw difference itself. The most meaningful moment came when Anita approached in the hotel lobby. Dr. Achieng, could I speak with you? Miracle looked at her birth mother, woman who gave her life then tried to take it, who was later saved by the daughter she discarded, who now advocated for children with facial differences. Of course, Mrs. Mwangi. I wanted to thank you, not just for saving my life or caring for Destiny, but for becoming the person who proves my worst mistake led to the world's greatest gift. Mrs. Mwangi, please let me finish. I threw you away because I thought you were broken. But you weren't broken, I was. You were exactly what you were supposed to be. I just wasn't ready to be what you needed. She gathered courage. I know I can never be your mother. I know what I did is unforgivable. But I want you to know that every day when I look at Destiny, I remember what I threw away. And every day when I see your accomplishments, I understand what grace looks like. You've been a good mother to Destiny. That's what matters now. I've been the mother to her that I should have been to you, but it's too late for us, isn't it? Miracle considered the question that haunted them both. Mrs. Mwangi, you made a choice 24 years ago that created permanent consequences. I can forgive you, and I have, but I can't pretend it didn't happen. You threw away your right to be my mother when you threw me in that river. Anita nodded, accepting truth she'd known for years. But that doesn't mean we can't have a relationship based on what we are now rather than what we were. You're Destiny's mother. I'm her doctor and big sister. We both love her. That's enough to build something meaningful on. Is it? It has to be, because the alternative is letting your past mistakes hurt Destiny's future. And I won't let that happen. They stood connected by DNA and divided by history, both changed by their relationship to a little girl who would grow up knowing she was precious exactly as she was. Dr. Achieng, Anita said as Miracle turned to leave. Yes? The name Miracle. It suits you perfectly. You really are miraculous. So is Destiny, and so are all the children we're working to save. The world is full of miracles, Mrs. Mwangi. You just have to be brave enough to recognize them. 10 years later, the River Light Foundation operated on every continent. Dr. Miracle Achieng's approach to treating facial differences had been adopted by medical schools worldwide. Her autobiography, Rising from the River, was required reading in courses on medical ethics and human resilience. But the most meaningful measure was found in thousands of children who now grew up believing different was a gift, not burden. On a sunny Nairobi afternoon, 15-year-old Destiny Mwangi stood before her own audience. The graduating class of River Light Academy, the first school designed for children with facial differences and their families. My sister was thrown away as a baby because someone thought she wasn't worth keeping, Destiny said, voice strong despite her young age. But that person was wrong. She wasn't worthless. She was priceless. Now, because of her work, none of us have to prove our worth by surviving what should have killed us. In the audience, Miracle wiped tears of pride watching her sister, confident, articulate, beautiful, address an audience without trace of shame about her unusual features. Beside her, Veronica, now 85 and sharp as ever, squeezed Miracle's hand. You did it, baby girl. You caught them all. In the back row, almost unnoticed, Anita listened to her younger daughter speak about her older daughter with mixture of pride and regret that would never fully heal. She had thrown away a miracle, but miracles, as it turned out, were harder to destroy than she'd ever imagined. The river had given Miracle back to the world, and the world was better for it. The end. In memory of every child told they weren't worth keeping, in honor of every adoptive parent who saw treasure where others saw trouble, in celebration of every river that becomes a pathway to purpose, every abandonment that becomes adoption, every difference that becomes gift. Some people are thrown away not because they're worthless, but because they're too precious for the people who lose them. This is the story of one who refused to stay lost. Final viral statistics. Opening hook. 500 million plus shares in first week. Security footage. 200 million views in 24 hours. Hashtag RiverBaby. Trending globally for 3 weeks. Hashtag Find the Mother. 500 million interactions. Hashtag Not the Same. 1 billion plus impressions after press conference. Hashtag River Surgeon. 1 billion plus impressions worldwide. Press conference roast. Most clipped moment in medical history. Summit speech. 50 million live viewers. 300 million replay views. The baby thrown away became the voice that changed everything. If you enjoyed this story, I'm certain you'll enjoy the next one showing on your screen right now. Please click on the thumbnail to watch the next story. I'd appreciate your support. Like this video, share it with your family and friends, and subscribe to my channel. See you in my next story. Bye.